Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
I went online to become a private detective. It was a private detective school online, and I paid online. And I never heard from them again. I thought to myself, I either got ripped off, or this is my first case. This is a journalistic podcast, Shannon. We vaccinate our listeners with answers. And I'm going to keep lip-syncing the important questions until TikTok gives me a show. Shannon, how can the moon landing be real if the moon itself is fake?
It's not true, Mike.
Oh, isn't it true, Shannon? You're fake. You're a hologram.
1 in 5 New Yorkers are food insecure. What's your solution for that, Mike?
Fortune cookie. Because that's food and advice at the same time. Shannon, at least have the decency to backstab me, okay? You stab me in the front every time. Some fans can't watch the podcast because they're triggered by our sexuality. And message to those fans, we will leak a sex tape right into your mouth.
This is Mike Vecchione Investigates.
And you're not better than me. Welcome to another episode of Mike Vecchione Investigates. We're not in the studio. We are via satellite now in different parts of the country doing our separate investigations. Sometimes the team needs to break up because investigations don't just happen in New York at our home base. They happen around the country, and we need to be there live, okay? Because of the anti-Semitism. Am I saying that right, Robbie? Our guest is a chosen. Robbie Bernstein is here. Robbie, thank you for being here.
Yeah, and I'm loving that you're doing a segment investigating how depressed people live. So,
how do depressed people live, Robbie? I didn't understand.
With minimal furniture and stuff that looks like it was just warehoused off of someone's lawn.
Are you insulting my
mother's house? Yes, absolutely.
My mother's house, Robbie. Okay. In the Italian culture, it's very sacred. We hold it very sacred, our mother and our mother's furniture. And the things that you're seeing in the background are not from a lawn sale, as you so eloquently put it. But
I think all nice homes come with podcast backgrounds. That's been, my aesthetic.
Well, you know what? I mean, I'm not calling you out. You do whatever you feel like is necessary for you to do a successful investigation. I want you in a good headspace. We're on the same team. I'm sorry, that's a variant. We're on the same team, but if you have to have a background to make yourself feel better, this is not a background. This is my mother's house, and I pride myself on being authentic. And the fan base, low functioning as they may be, they relate to that. They relate to the fact that I'm going to be authentic with them. I don't need a constructed, and I'm using air quotes for those of you who can't afford a computer. I don't need a constructive background to make them think I'm something that I'm not. I am who I am. I'm coming to them with hardcore investigations. And I was just in Ithaca, New York. I took a bus. Don't get jealous. You'll get there someday. I took a bus to Ithaca, opening for my friend Nate Bargatze. And then from there, I went to State College, Pennsylvania, which I went to Penn State, and Philadelphia, which I lived in Philadelphia for 8 years. And then Roanoke, which is a lost colony. And then Asheville, which are hipsters who live in a side of a mountain. So hopefully those fans are joining us. And Robbie Bernstein is a very funny New York comic. He's a sharpshooter. He's very funny, but highly intelligent. And that's why we've brought him in. And as always, we have Shannon Lee, not in the studio, in the comforts of her own home. And Shannon, if we can see your background, that would be great to introduce the new fans who are joining us. There's a sexy fire burning, and we pride ourselves on being the most sexual investigative show. And there's an element of sexuality to our investigations, not unlike Moonlighting, if you remember that show. There was flirtation going on. There was sexuality, but they also found the killer. Okay, so that's what we're about too. We're all easy on the eyes. Robbie's a sex fiend. I'm good looking. Shannon has a burning fire, which is also it expresses her burning desire to satisfy, to quench her thirsts, her lustful thirst. There's a sexual vibe that we're putting out there. It's on purpose. For those of you from Ithaca or State College who are just joining us now. So I'm sorry about this diatribe, but I have to introduce, and Robbie reminded me off in the pre-production meeting that to introduce the new fans who've never been here before, lay it out what we're going to do. We have stories on tap. We have to investigate, but there is a sexual vibe. It's not an accident. We're throwing it out there, and you can almost smell the Axe body spray from my portal and from Robbie, and the vaginal candles. I think it's from Gwyneth Paltrow that Shannon probably has burning next to her fireplace. So that's what's happening on this podcast. If you're confused by our sexuality and our smells, that's what's happening here. Thank you for joining us. We love our fans, and we're here to talk you up, get you out of that bed, get you into a functional relationship, get you to stop being an incel, and get you into a productive life. A lot of low-income whites watch the show. We're trying to raise your game. Robbie, how are you? Where are you? What are you up to these days?
Mike, that was a hell of an introduction, and I'm happy that you warned everyone about my sexual energy, because sometimes it does come off too strong. So I'm happy that, they got that warning.
Yeah.
This is my lovely home right here. This is me in Stamford, Connecticut. This is what I come to the table with.
Okay.
And let me tell you, I spent some time meditating today and really getting into a good headspace that I would be ready to investigate.
Thank you for doing that, Robbie. So many people sometimes come on this show and they don't know what to expect, and they're this and they're that. But you've been on the show many times before, and you're coming in like a sharpshooter, like a sniper, professional. You know, the guys who killed bin Laden, they slept on the helicopter ride over. So you're kind of like a Navy SEAL of this show.
That's what you got to do. You got to come in, clean headspace, so that you're ready to be open to the world and whatever it throws at you, and investigate. I want to know, though, if you're at home with your mom, does that make investigations better, or does your mom start going, quit doing all that investigating, Mike?
No, my mom's been on the show. My mom's been on the show. I think her and Shannon text behind my back. Actually, I don't care for it.
To complain about your sexual energy?
Probably talking about that. I'm not privy to those conversations. I don't go through my mom's phone. So I think her and Shannon, she loves Shannon. She can't get enough of some Shannon Lee in her life. She actually asked me about Shannon before I got on air and asked me to say hello to her, which I refused to do because this is a business and it's about investigations. It's not about saying hello, Mom. Okay. But my mom made me an unbelievable meal last night. Coverdales with fresh and there was sausage and meatballs and pork spare ribs in a sauce in a slow cooker that cooked for 2 days. So I don't know what the Judaism version of that is, Robbie, but I don't think there is one, if I'm being quite honest. You guys have a lot of good qualities. That is not a comparison. And I'm not going Kyrie on you. I'm just saying facts. Your thoughts on that?
We got this thing called cholent. You ever heard of cholent before?
Mm-mm.
So
is that the fresh bread?
No, definitely not the fresh bread.
What's that called? The fresh. When I was in Israel, they had that.
Challah. Challah.
It's but spelled with a CH.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you guys like to confuse the Gentiles. But that's a great piece of bread. I could be wrong. You combine that piece of bread with the sauce that I just ate. I mean, you're talking about your brain explodes. Because that you guys have is unreal.
Well, that challah, it's like a very, it's an absorbing bread. You can really, excellent for French toast. You ever have yourself some French toast challah?
No, I would not waste that on French toast. I would dip that right.
Oh, you see,
I would put pork in it, pork and cheese, which you guys, it's illegal in your culture.
You got bad juice skills. This is the challah French toast. That's for post-Sabbath Sunday morning, the leftovers. So you're not wasting challah. It's whatever you didn't eat at your Friday, Saturday meal. then you rejuvenate it on Sunday. You give it new life in honor of Jesus and all your friends going to church by turning it into French toast. Resourceful like the Indians.
You guys are great. You guys are great. I don't know why everybody's going after you. I don't know why people are taking shots at you.
Well, because
Chosens, it was unreal. Go ahead, defend your tribe.
No, I want to defend Kanye, who is trying to warn the world about the FTX scandal and that you shouldn't be putting your money with Jews and that we shouldn't be sending it over to Ukraine because people like Zelensky are trying to get us into World War III. And Kanye was doing the world a favor, warning them about what the Jews were up to. And sadly, they removed him from Twitter and people lost billions of dollars.
Is that what you're up to, Robbie? Are you doing that? Are you doing a financial investigation on your own? Is that what you're coming in with?
No, I'm just trying to do everything I can to look as least Jewish as possible so that when it really turns, I can blend in. That's my strategy.
Is that why you shaved your head?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
be honest with the fans.
Yeah, I'm trying to look as white nationalistic as possible and do everything I can to call out my people before everyone turns on us. Because I see where this is going.
I mean, could you look more January 6th?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to blend in, Mike.
God. And Shannon, I know you're in Staten Island, tucked away in your sexy underground lair. And Robbie is kind of uncover where the blockchain is. But what are you up to right now, Shannon?
Not a lot. I don't have a
Got your glasses and your cat on.
Yeah, this is
your cat facing you. The cat is almost like ignoring us and like giving you eye contact, which I feel like is a message to the fans.
I think that's true. He's not a fan of, as you call them, the low-income whites.
Oh, that's a smart cat. That's turning its back on your dumb audience.
Turn the back on the fans. And I don't love that, Shannon. I'll be honest with you. That cat is an upscale, snooty, privileged, if I can say that, cat. And the fact that it will not look at our incel low-functioning fans makes me furious with it. Him or her?
Him.
Did he make that choice or did you, Shannon?
I guess I did, but he seems to be okay with it.
Okay. Because you're rubbing his ears?
He loves it.
Rubbing his ears gently. What are you up to, Shannon?
Not a whole lot. I do have one update for you that nobody knows. I haven't said this on any podcast yet. I hung out with a guy last night.
What? Shannon? What happened? What had happened?
So it's really, I'm embarrassed to say this, but it was like one of my exes.
Yeah.
And we just kind of like hung out.
It was one of your exes, not just this random guy.
No, it was an ex.
Okay.
Yeah, I ran into him recently, and then it's just like...
On or off steroids?
Currently off.
Is that okay with you, though? That's not a deal breaker? Cycle down? I thought you need a cycle up.
That's a great question, Robbie. That's a great question.
It's because I feel like when guys have done cycles at some point, they gain mass that even when they're not hitting the gym, they hold on to that mass later in life. And so like he has like really wide shoulders. And I really enjoy that.
So you like meeting them when they're emotionally available, and then when they ramp up onto the testosterone so that you get like a more aggressive version of them as you start fighting in the relationship.
I mean, that's what's happened, I think. I think that is what's happened. But maybe now like he's older, he's off of it. Maybe he'll be more calm and easy to deal with, but we'll see.
But as long as he still fights strangers in public on your behalf.
He will 100% do that. Yes. He will definitely do that.
And what was his job?
He was a correction officer.
Yeah, beating prison inmates. You knew that. Watching them in the shower. Stealing cornbread and telling them that someone else took it. Starting prison fights. I know what this guy's like. You never met him, Mike?
I think it's the same guy as before, Shannon?
Yeah.
I think I saw him. I never actually met him, no.
Oh, he's got the best stories about lighting people on fire.
Right, Shannon? He retired?
Yes.
Okay. So, Robbie, you act like he's in the prison system now.
Well, he just still has so much prison energy on him.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
But does. Shannon, do you feel detained in the relationship now?
Not yet, but it's because now it's great. Now it's like where we've forgotten everything that we hate about each other, and we're just like enjoying being in each other's presence again. But let's see how long that lasts.
How many ex-boyfriends do you cycle through?
There's two main ones.
Yeah.
This one the most, though.
That's fun. It's like having one relationship with 3 people as they're cycling on and off steroids.
Yes, for
They
like 20
cycle
years.
onto steroids and off of Shannon, and then off of steroids and onto Shannon. Is that what you're saying, Robbie? Is that the point you're making?
Well, what I like to do is I like to have 3 women in my rotation that are all bipolar, and I just catch them on an upswing.
Works.
It's great.
Right.
I get them all at their best version.
Now, Robbie, do you feel emasculated because Shannon is going after like these high testosterone men, and she looks at us like probably white collar criminals?
Well, what I bring to the table in a relationship is intelligence.
Yeah.
And so I feel that the women of both your audience and that Shannon hangs out with can't do that for her. So
Yeah,
because,
can I say something in your defense, Robbie? Let me just jump in here
Please.
and defend you to Shannon. Robbie's dangerous too, Shannon, and I'm dangerous also. Okay, Robbie is a high thinker, and maybe he's not in the blue collar prison system, shanking people and like stabbing others for food. But he could give you a bad stock tip. He
That's
could
true.
really give you a bad stock tip, and that could wreck your portfolio for the year. And that's pretty scary too, Shannon.
Mike, do you feel like Shannon being back in a relationship ruins some of the sexual energy of the show?
Not at all. I think it ramps Shannon up, and she is like, the juices are flowing. Her system is catching it's like it's emanating from her. She's glowing today.
We haven't had sex yet. I feel like I wonder if the day that I do have sex, if I walk into the studio, if everyone will just be able to tell.
Oh, you can smell that guy on you.
Smoking a cigarette, Shannon. You'll be smoking a cigarette on air, and I'll be like, Shannon, did you? Robbie, do you think you're going to be able to tell when Shannon finally does have it?
That's an excellent question, Mike. And I don't think I see Shannon on the reg enough for me to pick up that scent.
Well, you might have to start, because once she gets a little whiff of that and the relationship goes bad, that dog is going to be hunting. Okay.
So you're saying
Shannon is a dog. Shannon's very beautiful, but she's going to have that. The juices are going to be flowing, and Shannon could possibly go through dare I say, a hoe phase.
So you're saying I should start going into Gas Digital every day because maybe I can pick up rebound. I could be like, hey, Shannon, are you sad yet? Has it happened? Are you feeling sad, lonely, and desperate? All right, I'll just continue sitting on this couch drinking coffee till you get there.
But Robbie, you're a good guy to talk to because you're a good listener, right? Are you a good listener? Like if Shannon, because Shannon requires, especially if it does happen and then the relationship goes sour, Shannon's going to have all that energy and she might want to talk it out and everything. And are you going to be there for 3 to 5 snuggling dates of like listening and salads and, that kind of thing?
I'm not great at that. I don't like salads. So I'm out on that. But you want to eat some carbs, get hammered, and just bang it out on the first one. That I'm good at.
Robbie, that's not Shannon's style.
Bad.
I'll step in and I'll talk for Shannon. That's not her style. Go out, eat some carbs, and bang it out. Why not hurt an animal while you're at it? Jesus, Robbie.
Now, that's a good date suggestion, Mike. What am I talking about? Going out carbs, hunting an animal. That sounds like, what did you say that we should do? That sounded like a much better date suggestion.
He just said herding an animal.
Yeah, let's go herd out animals. You already got the cat skills. You're good with the ears.
Well, Shannon, I have to put the question to you. Me and Robbie are speculating because we're men, low-income men. And I have to, do you think that once you do it again, that your juices will be flowing and it might be like, you might be just looking for it? Not that you'll act on it. I'm not saying that, Shannon. I'm not putting that on you. But do you think that your energies might change?
I feel like I'm just screaming right into his ear. I think it's a possibility. I don't know. Because again, it's been so long. In March, it'll be 5 years. And I feel like.
Can I just cut you off for a second? Did the spirit of your father jump into that cat? Because it's like he's like trying to interrupt you talking about this.
I know. I'm sorry, Jax. My dad is alive, by the way.
Yes.
But
that's why I said his spirit.
Okay. So it's possible. I mean, I feel like it would still take a lot for me to like be attracted to the next person.
Yeah.
But because right now I'm so far removed from sex and I don't really think about it, if I start like thinking about it and doing it again,
Right.
it's possible that you're right.
Yeah, who knows what happens when you reopen the vagina store?
No idea.
Yeah, you might have all sorts of customers lining up.
Maybe.
I mean, Shannon's going to have customers lining up. It's a matter of who she's going to want to select for that. And as you so eloquently put it, Robbie, the vagina store is reopened after it was closed. It had COVID hours. It seems like for a long time. Shannon.
Yeah.
But Robbie, do you feel that Shannon's pheromones, isn't that a word kids are using now? Pheromones will be on display, and maybe that's what the cat is responding to even as we speak. Shannon's pheromones.
I think that makes perfect sense. I think she might walk into Gas Digital and face even more sexual harassment than usual. I actually think that we're going to have to probably have an HR meeting and be like, hey, everyone in the office should know that Shannon's back to having sex. This is going to be the HR meeting, by the way. It'll be a public announcement. Listen, Shannon's back to having sex, and so she might be giving off even more pheromones
Right.
and slutty Italian energy than like normal. So we need the rest of you guys to control yourselves and just be aware of the additional pheromones that are in the office.
Do you think that we'll need? Do you think we'll need to build another extension onto Gas Digital to contain Shannon's sexual pheromone energy? I mean, they already done building more offices, even another bathroom, as luxurious as that is. But do you think another section needs to be built on to control for Shannon's pheromonal state?
I always think the women should be held separately. And it's one of the few things I agree with the Muslims about. So I definitely approve of this plan. And I think we should bring that to the HR department as well.
Robbie, are you trying to implement mosque rules on Shannon?
I think that once these pheromones are in action, I think that's the only thing we can do to keep her safe.
I think you're right, because I think the energy is going to be crazy once Shannon is set free.
We're talking about 4 years, 5 years. I don't even know how much pent up. Once you reopen up this vagina store, I think it's going to be nothing but wet cushions and pheromones.
What do you think the merch department should do about it, Robbie? Do you think we should have T-shirts that say "Free Shannon"?
No, I think we should take all the unused COVID masks and turn it into like a tampon diaper thing to try and contain the open vagina. I think it's really going to need a lot to contain the radiance.
But I just think that Shannon's energy is going to be different. I think it's going to be it's going to be palpable. I'm going to be able to feel it. And I think that if you're not man enough to stand in it, you will wilt. You will wilt, because Shannon's energy is going to be strong once a former corrections officer and former lover taps into that. And Shannon, is comfort level a lot of the reason that you guys are back? Can you speak to comfort level?
I feel like that's definitely part of it. It's just, I don't know. There's just, like when there's just a chemistry between you and a person, and after we have a fight and we separate, I'm fine with staying away from him. But it's then whenever we cross each other's paths in real life and I see him in person and he's like, oh, we should hang out. And I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. We should totally make this mistake all over again. And it's just the same thing. Just like seeing him in person, I just can't not.
Now, are you seeing him in person or stalking the places he goes to?
Wow. Robbie brings up a great point. Would you be stalking the places that he goes to, Shannon?
No. And I do like it because we've been together for so long. Like I do know where he hangs out and stuff. I have never stalked him. I don't mean to like make this a bummer, but how I did see him was my grandmother passed away last week, and Thank you. He came to the wake, which I was not expecting in a million years. So he saw like my Facebook post, and I just looked up, but I wasn't expecting at all to see him, and that's where like the connection happened.
Wow.
So it's post-dead grandma vagina pussy that he went for, and that you're sorry.
He hasn't made.
He was watching Wedding Crashers, and he's like, "This is my chance to get her back." And he's cycling off the steroids, so he feels that sensitivity.
But Shannon felt the honorability of that.
Yeah,
that
was very sweet.
An honorable thing to do. Shannon's big on honor.
Yeah, it was very nice. He also, when yesterday I met him at his house and he had just gotten home. So I'm like, don't come and get me. Like, I'll just Uber to your house. And when I got there, he was like, how much was the Uber? I was like, stop it. It's free. Like, don't worry about it. And then when he dropped me off at home, after like I got in, he texted me. He was like, look in your bag. And I look at my bag and he put $100 bill in my bag to cover my Uber.
Wow.
Can I date this guy?
Shannon, are you saying that women like $100 bills hidden?
Well,
And then when there's a text and then they find the $100 bill, is that that seems like a good plan.
I always assume that I need to pay women after sex. So that's just standard procedure. Because, I don't want to hear later that I was being a cheap Jew and that it was expected. So I just assume.
But Robbie, $100 bill?
I know it. No, that's usually not enough. But what are you going to do?
Well, I mean, do you throw some Bitcoin in there with a blockchain? You seem to be that guy.
That and some coupons that I've been trimming all week that I think would suit their lifestyle.
Shannon, what happened then?
Oh, so what I like about that is I feel like sometimes guys will be like offering just for the sake of offering, but they don't actually want to pay. So he would be like, oh, come on, tell me how much it was. And if I don't say it, then he just forgets it ever happened, or do it in front of my face so I see it and then try to like stop him from putting the money in my bag. But the fact that he did it and I had no idea, like that really means he wants me to have.
That doesn't creep you out that he went through your purse?
It was right at the top.
Oh, okay. But then that didn't bother your Jew senses that it could have just fallen right out? That could have been a waste of a perfectly good $100 bill.
I guess I don't have good Jew senses. I'm only like 0.02 Ashkenazi. I don't have enough.
What if he put 100 in your purse and you found it and then he's like, okay, now I own you? What if that's the message? I mean, because by prison rules, that's what it means. Shannon.
Oh, yeah, Shannon, you haven't considered what that might mean in his culture.
Yes. In his culture, that means I own you. And it's like, I mean, he put 100 because that's in general society. But if you were a lockdown, it would have been pack of smoke.
Yeah.
Pack of smokes. Pack of Newports.
Well, there wasn't any official transaction made. So he wasn't like, well, now that you have accepted this $100 bill, like you owe me this. So as
right. It's never said, Shannon. It's never verbalized, but it's always that, the energy.
And how do you know that he's not going to?
It is. I'm saying that's a possibility.
And have you considered that he might trade you to another corrections officer? So someone else shows up and is like, "Yo, I bought you from, I don't know what your guy's name is. Let's call him Steven."
Okay. Maybe that one's. Maybe then that one will be my husband. Maybe that's how I'm supposed to find who I'm really supposed to marry.
Wow, Shannon, you took a prison trade-off and turned it into Cinderella. The way you did that was pretty magical, Shannon. And I have to compliment you. You're very, very creative. So that's what's been going on with you, Shannon. A lot happening under the radar. I'm glad I asked because you were just going to turn on your picture and take notes. Yeah. And now you're unable to do that because our fans, especially the ones in Ithaca and State College who just joined us, and Philadelphia and Roanoke and Asheville, they are just learning that Shannon hasn't had sex in a long time and reverts back to commingling with exes, and then may or may not choose to restart those relationships again. So that's what's been that's the backstory.
Are you going to get stuffed on Thanksgiving, or what are you waiting for?
Robbie, why? Why, Robbie? Why do you have to take it to Skankfest? You took a high-end Cinderella-type fairy tale where a prison guard was giving Shannon $100 and was going to trade her to maybe a firefighter, and you turned it dirty.
I'm sorry. I forgot that you got the Nate Christian loving people. So my bad. I'll keep it clean.
Pretend it's the high holidays and don't try to dumb everything down into a dumpster fire.
I think that's you're right.
Fair enough. Now, Robbie, have you ever had an ex that you've recycled back to after doing Diana Ball and other steroids? And have you done that?
No, I just kill them when I'm done with them.
You've killed them.
Yeah, that's what I do. Because that's just what makes sense in my book. You're done. You did it. You guys had the whole thing. And who wants to live in the cycle of them coming back and pretending like they care about your dead grandma, and then you're back in a relationship? So you just kill them.
Oh, man. Robbie,
Yeah.
you are so cold. Shannon, I didn't know we had Brian Laundry on the podcast. Wow.
By the way, hikes
Brian Laundry was missing.
hikes are the best way to do it.
Coming.
Hikes are the best way to do it because sometimes you can just trick them and go, hey, it'll be a better Instagram photo if you just get a little closer. You're not close, just a little bit, and then you just walk away.
I think Robbie does make a good point. We all feel like we're on a cliff sometimes. And especially around the holidays, family pressures and such. My mom is putting the pressure on me to put up the Christmas decorations, something the Chosens don't have to worry about. But me and Shannon are held to a higher standard because we have to put up the Christmas decorations. So I have to get that done at some point. Robbie, you don't know what that's like. We hide the Christmas decorations in an attic or in a basement. And then once a year, it's a big to-do right after Thanksgiving. Sometimes on Thanksgiving Day, we have to decorate the entire house. So that's what that's about. I know it's foreign to you. I know you're not, you don't understand it, but I'm trying to explain it the best way I can.
A lot of untangling, right?
Yes, there is. And there is, depending on how organized you are. And there's lights and there's mistletoe and there's all kinds of stuff involved. And, it's tough. It's tough stuff.
This smoke break is brought to you by YoDelta.com, the official Getting High sponsor of the Gas Digital Network.
I got to tell you guys a story because I took a bus to Ithaca, and there was an incident on the bus. I love taking the bus. I actually do enjoy bus rides quite a bit. And I was taking the bus, and this woman was on, and she had two kids, and she gets on the bus, and she goes to her seat, and there's assigned seats on the tickets, and the bus driver goes, "You're in the wrong seat," and she goes, "Why didn't you tell me beforehand? I got two kids. I'm like, I'm struggling here, and you should have told me beforehand. I'm not moving. I'm not moving." And then she looks at her ticket, and she goes, "I am in the right seat. It says the right seat." And he goes, "Oh," and she goes, "See, you were trying to get me to move, and I'm in the right seat. I was in the right seat the entire time." So she's frustrated, and she sits down. And then a couple comes on the bus and goes, "I think you're in our seat." And she flips out, and she goes, "I'm not in your seat. It's my seat." And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry." And he goes back. She starts flipping out. Okay, so then we're getting ready to go, and then I see her yelling down. I can't see because I'm sitting a little farther back. She starts yelling, and she goes, what's happening is this woman is trying to get on the bus. And she goes, "That woman was sent by my ex-husband. I'm fleeing a domestic situation. That woman was sent by my ex-husband to get me. She's trying to get me. Do not give her a ticket. Do not give her a ticket." And the driver is like, I don't know what to do here. It's like, she's trying to buy a ticket. She doesn't have a ticket, but she's trying to buy a ticket. And the woman was like, "I'll pay any price to get on the bus, whatever the ticket costs." So it kind of did seem like she really wanted to get on the bus. And so then the driver calls the cops, and then the cops come. And the woman's like, "I have an order of protection against my husband." They go, "But do you have an order of protection against this woman? Do you know this woman?" And she goes, "No, I don't know her, but she was sent by my ex-husband. I have an order of protection against my ex-husband." And the cops go, "We can't prevent this woman from getting on the bus." She goes, "All right, let her on the bus. But if anything happens, everybody here is a witness. Everybody here is a witness." And we're all like, "Ah!" So she buys a ticket. She walks past us and goes to the back of the bus. And then we take off. And then we're on the bus for 4 hours. And the woman is talking on the phone with her daughter. She has two kids on the bus. She's talking on the phone with her daughter. And she's just disciplining her daughter on FaceTime. The loudest I've ever seen anybody discipline a child, like the child was there. Just disciplining her daughter on the phone. She should win Parent of the Year because she did it for 4 hours. She did not get off the phone. I don't know how her phone. I guess she was charging her phone at the time because it was unbelievable. She was just yelling at her daughter, and then it would go quiet for a while and she'd be talking to her, and then she would start yelling at her again. But it went on for 4 hours.
I like how it sounds like she planned that.
What's that?
It sounds like she planned that activity, like the way you might have a movie for a bus ride. She's like, oh, I'll just yell at my daughter for 4 hours.
It was unbelievably entertaining. And I tend to side with the parent on those things because I just am like, you're disciplining your kid. That's the problem with the world. None of us are disciplining our kids. And you actually are doing a great job. So I was like applauding. Anytime I see that in public, I always root for the parent, you know? So it was a very entertaining bus ride.
Did anything come of it? Like, because
No, they got off the bus in what's it called? Bimington?
But as an investigator, you didn't commit the rest of your weekend to following this woman?
No, I wanted to get off she got off the stop before Ithaca, and I just wanted to get off. And because when she got off the bus, and the other woman got off the bus at the same time, so she might have had a point. Out to get her. She wasn't going to do it on the bus because we were all witnesses.
Right.
But when she got off the bus, the other woman got off the bus too. I mean, it's a stop, so a lot of people got off the bus. Half the people got off the bus. But the woman got off the bus at the same time. So, and we had another hour ride. But when she got off the bus, I got to be honest with you, the silence was deafening. I did not enjoy the rest of the ride without her.
Oh, do you
when
think
she was on the bus, she was fiery. She was disciplining her kids. It was like kind of great.
you feel like that's the white noise you need in your life?
I don't know. I always root for the parent in those situations. I don't care. I know it's loud. I know it's kind of obnoxious. I get it, but I don't care. I root for the parent. I'm for discipline in those situations. And a lot of our fans are going to disagree because they're chaotic and wild and they're feral people and they don't believe in any kind of discipline. But I'm pro discipline, even if it's a loud and, dare I say, entertaining way. It was very entertaining.
Do you think maybe she was doing it to try and prove to the lady in the back that she's actually a good parent and so she shouldn't take the other two kids?
She's a good parent, but she was like firm. Like she was like, don't you disrespect me, to her daughter. She's like, don't you ever disrespect me. Don't you ever.
Oh, so this is not a white lady.
Father. Huh?
This is not a white lady.
No, she was not white. But she was letting her kid have it there. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. It transcends race because that's the way I was raised. My father would always be like, you don't ever disrespect me. Don't ever. It just was like bringing me flashbacks.
But 4 hours of that is very black.
3 hours of it and then 1 hour of deafening silence, Robbie.
Do I have permission to be I understand that it was a little too much sexual and death energy for me earlier. And it is your podcast. So I want to be respectful. Are we allowed to be
respectful of our fans? They're taking cues for us on how to live. So keep that in mind. We're role models.
Are we allowed to be racist on this platform?
No. Racism is frowned upon in our society, Robbie.
Then I will keep my next observations to myself.
Please. Can't just focus on the parenting? Attack the problem, not the person?
The positive aspect.
Yeah, the positive aspects of it. We're trying to raise the standard here for our low-income fans.
Right. Because I was looking at the negative aspect that certain cultures seem to be more comfortable on their phones in front of other people than other cultures.
Yeah.
But you're looking at it as more people can learn that they should have the balls to discipline their kids.
Yes.
No matter where they are, so that we'll have more disciplined kids.
Yes. There's a price to pay. There's a price to pay for your actions. Okay. And these kids need to know that. Too many kids are running around, no consequences for anything. Do you agree with that, Robbie? Would you rather have that as kind of society?
I think there's the other part that you're putting out there is that you never know when disciplining your kids might help someone else who's sitting quietly on a bus and misses a dad that used to yell at them. And so they get to relive their childhood of hearing a parent yell at their kid.
I almost smacked myself. On that one. Because it brought me back to such good memories of my childhood and how my father disciplined me. I love it.
Yeah. You can't recreate those moments.
So that happened on the way to Ithaca. You think you're just going to Ithaca on a bus. Nothing's going to happen. Boom. Surprise. And you learn something about yourself. For a lot of our fans out there who never seem to learn anything, you will learn things about yourself in different situations. Do you have any roads? Have you been on the road, Robbie?
Yes, I've been gigging as much as I can, but I guess I got to get into the bus game so that maybe I actually come home with some money. So I tend to
I love the way you put that, Robbie. I mean, that's really the bus game. I mean, it's just how our fans get around. So they just look at it as general transportation.
Right.
But you calling it the bus game, get your bus game going, is really enlightening and is really invigorating for our fans.
I got to get my bus game going. I feel like it's a whole different world. It's navigating the bus stations. It's the buying the tickets. It's being around homeless people. It's the spooky bathrooms. It's the creepy characters. There's a lot that you got to really be able to navigate.
Okay, navigate's a big word for our fans, so be careful with that. And homeless is also another trigger word. Home deprived. They're deprived of, temporarily home deprived. Shannon will edit that in post. Temporarily home deprived. Maybe we can get Robbie to do a lip sync of it and then match it up. Anything's possible. It's a Thanksgiving miracle. So we have some stories. Shannon, before we get to the deep investigations of it, we're investigating each other. And we will do that at the beginning of the podcast. For those of you
question.
Yes.
Did you look at the police blotter later to find out if that mom murdered the kids, if they end up fighting over the kids, if there was because I feel like there's a lot of meat on that bone. I'm really surprised he didn't just stay out there and follow those people.
What was I going to do, Robbie? I wasn't going to get off the bus. I had a show to do. The fans rely on me for my stand-up comedy, so I couldn't derail.
So you need an investigative intern who can then go stalk these characters and maybe spend the rest of their lives just, pursuing those leads for you so you could check in with them.
I think that would be great, but I think what I got treated to was excellent. But you are saying follow up on these things.
Yeah, I'm saying follow these people. Make that your life's mission.
I got to be really honest with you. After the second person, Robbie, after the second person told her that she was in their seat and she flipped out, I almost was going to go up to her and go, I think you're in my seat.
But when the second person did it, were you like, is this for sure that she's in the wrong seat or that everyone for some reason wants that seat? Like, what do you think it was that everyone was walking up to her and being like, hey, I think you're in my seat?
I don't know. I think her reaction is priceless. And I just think she was attracting it because it was
Who the fuck you saying in your seat? You disrespecting me? This is my fucking seat.
He was losing it. And that's definitely the wrong person that you want to confront about the wrong seat. And especially if you're wrong, especially if you're wrong. So, and then she took that energy because it was already ramped up.
What, you saying I got to go to the back of the bus? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, the energy was ramped up, Robbie, because two people and her energy was ramped up. And this is not unlike, I'm a big believer in energy. And this is not unlike Shannon's energy. It's a sexual energy, but if it gets ramped up, and this woman had her energy ramped up from these two close calls of people trying to get her out of her seat. So she called and yelled at her kid because of the flow of energy, just like the flow of sexual energy. If Shannon has it once, it might just be open season on the Gas Digital community. I don't know. Okay. Well, let's do some plugs and let's go to plugs. I am Mike Vecchione. That's why you're watching the podcast, along with special guests that I have on at Comic Mike V on all social media platforms. December 16th, I will be at Valares in Sicklerville, New Jersey. vvcomedy.com for tickets. vvcomedy.com for tickets. December 16th, Philadelphia area, in Sicklerville, New Jersey. So I plugged those heavy when I was in Philadelphia, and MikeVecchione.com for all dates coming up. I've got some dates coming up for the new year, and special is done. I'm waiting for a platform for those of you kind enough to be asking about it. It will be out as soon as possible. So thank you for your patience on it. I've been posting a lot of stuff on my YouTube. Any new material, I'm just posting now on my YouTube page, on my social media. So at Comic Mike V, MikeVecchione.com for dates. And thank you for liking and subscribing. And thank you also to our new listeners who are joining us from the various cities that I've been doing to, because I've been plugging the podcast pretty hard. I think this is one of the best kept secrets on the Gas Digital Network. And I'd like to expand beyond the network to the fans that I'm reaching, opening for Nate, on the road myself. I was at Comedy Works in Denver. Those were great crowds, full packed shows. So if you're joining me from any of the stand-up from the road, welcome. Please like and subscribe and continue to support your boy. It's a hard running a fake investigations show. And it's hard to talk down to you guys, but I managed to drum up the energy to do it every week with Shannon, and this week with our guest, Robbie Bernstein.
And
so
we got to grow this to the point where you got the budget to spend the rest of your life following random bus people to see the end of the stories.
We need a bigger budget in order to investigate further. I think what Robbie is trying to say, I translated his high talking college language to
bus people. That's college talk.
The bus people, the low functioning whites. So Robbie, what do you got?
Well, you and we got a date December 17th in Perryville, Maryland. That's going to be at a brewery. Last show that went there was great. It's a fun place to hang out. We got me, you, Justin Silver, Howie Dewey. That's going to be a fun night. Other than that, I'm on the road. I've got Tucson, Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, Omaha, Nebraska, Kansas City, St. Louis, and I'm going to be doing an end of the year recap, which I do every year. It's going to be my 3rd annual, and I'm going to be putting some more dates on the calendar. So go to RobbieTheFire.com for more info on that.
Great. Shannon.
You can follow me on Instagram at Shannon Lee 6982. Listen to my podcast, The Thing Is Ding. We talk about bad dates, fighting, and ghosts. Also, on the last episode, my co-host Maddie Jesterskulls and I, it was just him and I hosting, and we actually got into a for real life fight that ended the episode shortly. And so I wasn't sure if I was going to air it or not, but I did, and that episode is up. And now the next episode, I ran a best of this past
Makeup
week.
sex. That's the thing you like.
Oh, no, it will not be that.
Plus, you're not going to talk to him for 3 months until he gets off steroids, and then you get back together.
Do you think Maddie Jesterskulls is on steroids?
No, but he can get on the steroids so that he can get off of them, and then you guys can make up.
Maybe he should just do that anyway. Maybe that'll like give him a couple inches height.
Ooh, shots fired.
But on the next episode, Ralph Sutton and Louis J. Gomez will be mediating to see if we should separate, if we should continue the show, and what happens next.
Wow.
So stay
Jerry
tuned
Springer
for that.
drama.
Yes.
Two podcast giants.
Yeah, and that's all real. None of it is fake. It's 100% real. So, and we're actually recording later tonight, so I don't know what's going to happen yet. So stay tuned. Wherever you listen to Mike Vecchione Investigates, you can also watch it live for free every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern at gasdigitalnetwork.com/live. That's absolutely for free. The best way to support this show is to go to gasdigitalnetwork.com, use promo code MVI. You will get a 1-week free trial, which gives you access to every single episode of this show we've ever done, as well as every episode of every show on all of Gas Digital Network, all for free for 1 week. If you listen on iTunes or YouTube, make sure to rate, review, tell a friend, comment, subscribe. Every little bit of interaction helps the show, and it just takes you a second. And if you have a question, comment, or your own video investigation to submit, for example, if you follow a bus person and know their whole story, send it into MikeVecchioneInvestigates at gmail.com. That's it.
Stalk random bus people for the sake of the show. Like, commit an entire week of your life. Just whoever the fucking character on the bus is, get out your phone and just stalk that person and then come back with the footage.
I think that's great. Words to live by. All right, Shannon, let's get to some investigations now.
Okay. First one is tourist faces backlash after dancing on Mayan pyramid in Mexico. So I'm going to show you, I'll just show you the video first, and then we can kind of discuss details. Second.
Yeah, those pyramids were built for burning people alive. So, you know, how dare someone have their own ritual on them? Oh, Shannon, you didn't tell me it was an ugly lady. Of course that's disrespectful. Mike, is that the lady from the bus?
So that's pretty much it. And so apparently
What happened there? I didn't feel like she was disrespecting the pyramids. I feel like she was dancing. And in this age of TikTok, the pyramids have to understand that we all need to elevate our brand.
So apparently, you're just not supposed to come into contact with the pyramid at all. It's like disrespectful to step onto it. And yeah, so she started to go up and then they started booing her and yelling at her. And that's when she started dancing. And apparently what they are chanting in Spanish is
Behead her?
close, but they were like jail, jail, or lock her up. And then when she got down, she had to be escorted away by a security guard because she was nervous she was going to be physically assaulted.
The people really defend the pyramids. Do you think that your ex-boyfriend was there because he worked at a prison?
I don't know.
He would have been assigned to take her to maybe it should be like the Philadelphia Eagles where they have a jail like in the basement of the stadium.
Maybe I'll ask.
For anybody who disrespects the pyramid, wouldn't it be great if they had a holding cell underneath the pyramids and then a whole like trial by TikTok?
Like it. Like in a cruise ship.
Yeah, like Robbie, do you think it's wrong to dance on the pyramids? To dance like if it's a church, are you wrong to dance in a church? Are you wrong to dance in the pyramids?
I would have thought that places that are not meant for dancing shouldn't be danced at, but you convinced me here that this is modern day advertising. These people are trying to raise awareness in the way that they know how. And while I don't understand it because I'm not gay, there is a new culture of young kids that like to interact through dance. I don't get it, but we shouldn't not let these people have their moments.
I mean, what is this, Footloose? Like you can't dance? You're not allowed to dance? I mean, what are we doing? I'm like, things happen in mysterious ways. Like Shannon reconnected with her ex-boyfriend at her grandmother's funeral. Who saw that coming? No one. And dancing on the pyramids, like it's just a thing that could be celebratory. And I think because of the mainstream media, we don't accept what the mainstream media says. That's why we investigate more. Like the moon might be fake. It's like we take it seriously. And dancing on the pyramids could be a celebration of the pyramids. We don't know why that woman was dancing. We don't understand Spanish. So to jump to conclusions, which is kind of like dancing, is wrong, I think.
Am I wrong that those pyramids, they used to sacrifice humans at them? I'm just going off apocalyptic.
No, I think that's correct.
Yeah,
I think
the idea
all the murder and with all the sacrifices, like a little dancing is kind of like, I don't know, am I being weird? But it kind of lightens the mood.
Just the idea that that's sacred, holy ground when there are atrocities like I don't know. Do these people still think that there should be human sacrificing? Is that like they hold it in high esteem that there was a location that there was human sacrificing? Is that the holiness?
They almost sacrificed her for dancing. They almost did a Snapchat sacrifice.
Hey, that lady was just a stripper trying to figure out how to get home, you know? She was trying to work.
Why do you have to take it to the lowest common denominator at all?
That's not even the lowest common denominator. I looked at her. I did an assessment. We're investigating here. I looked at her and I assessed that was probably her career. And so she was working the crowd.
She was working the crowd as a stripper.
She thought she was going to win them over with dance. They were like, she was like, they don't seem to like me because I was walking up here. But once I start dancing up at the top of this thing, all those people down there, they're going to like me. And then she started dancing and it didn't work, which is even sadder.
Well, do you think that the people were trolls? Like, I blame the people because it's like, if that was me, I'd be like, you just hate me because I'm hot and you're ugly. And that's why you hate on me. You hate on me because you're ugly and I'm hot and you can't handle it. And I think people get intimidated by that when you come at them that way, Robbie.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It's a tough one because everybody on this podcast is a smoke show. And if we were going to go up there and dance and they hated on us, it would be because they're ugly and we're hot.
And you're not going to win them over by telling them that.
No, people don't like the truth. Robbie, if we've learned anything from modern society
and COVID,
people don't like the truth. They don't like it.
I have one more detail because I don't know if bodies were sacrificed at this particular pyramid, but this was a temple to the feather serpent god.
Feather serpent god.
Mhm.
He sounds like he would dance. That sounds like a dancing god. I feel like she was doing the feather serpent dance. Maybe they were afraid that she was going to bring back the feather serpent. Maybe that's what happens if someone goes up there and dances in that way. It like summons the demon.
Summons is a big word for our fans, but I do agree with the fact that Robbie,
No, they get them from the court all the time. They know what I'm talking about.
the feather serpent god, I agree with Robbie. The feather serpent god does feel like a god who would be okay with dancing. So I don't know what everybody's problem is. God, this story seems like one thing on the surface, but then when you dig a little bit deeper into the investigation, there's so many things that just turned it on its ear, which is also a form of dancing. Turning something that's on its ear was called breakdancing in the 80s. For those of you too young to understand what happened in the 80s, it was pretty amazing. Shannon, let's move on to the next story. This investigation has been closed.
Okay, so the next one is the TSA found a cat in a checked luggage at the airport. And I'm going to show you a picture of this is how they claim they found it. There's the picture. So they saw a little bit of fur poking out through the zipper.
Shannon, that could have been a human head.
Could have been.
Okay, if I'm TSA, I don't know that that's a cat. I think that could be a person's head.
Well, this is how they're claiming that they discovered that there was something maybe not right. And then when they opened it up, they discovered that there was a cat in there. And apparently the person whose luggage this was, it wasn't their cat, but it was somebody else that lived in the household. So they don't know exactly how the cat got into the luggage, but the cat is back home safely now and everybody lived happily ever after.
Well, I mean, it sounds like the authorities and the person, God bless you,
Thank you.
is something we do on this podcast. We say God bless you, and we will say Merry Christmas. It just feels like that everybody is kind of blaming the cat for this one.
I don't think it's the cat's fault. I think it's...
Of course, you're going to be the first one to defend the cat, Shannon. The cat snuck into the person's luggage and then just laid down and went to sleep nervously.
And then,
Can I call bullshit?
Go ahead, Robbie.
All right. The idea, like some TSA agent wants a promotion going, look at how good my eyesight is. I was able to catch these hairs. They were about to put the fucking thing through a scanner. You don't think you would see the cat? Like, I don't need to worship and praise this TSA agent that was able to spot this. You're telling me that if it wasn't for that little zipper and the hair thing, they weren't going to spot the cat in the machine? Then why am I putting everything into that machine if the machine can't catch living animals?
Are you saying that this owner did this for free cat x-rays? Is that what you're saying, Robbie? It feels like that's what you're getting at.
No, I feel like the TSA is trying to say, hey, don't bring your cats here looking for free cat x-rays because we're going to spot it before it gets into the machine.
Do you think the owner of the cat needs an emotional support dog after all this trauma?
I think the owner needs to somehow be able to not pick up something and go, why does this weigh 10 more pounds than I thought it would have? And why is it moving and making screeching noises and be unbothered by any of that?
also,
Right.
did the cat zip itself up into the bag? This is impossible to happen. When you pack your stuff, you have to close the bag. You're not seeing a cat in the luggage.
Well, I guess it could have climbed in because, like, let's say you've got weird cat-like items, and so the cat goes in, and then you just close it up, and then you're in a rush, and I guess you run out. But it's not adding up to me. Now, why do you think this person was trying to sneak their cat onto a plane? Terrorist cat?
Could it be a terror cat, Shannon?
I don't. It's possible.
Well, he's going to be fine, 9 lives. Even if there is a terror, it's a terrorist cat. Robbie brings a great point to the table.
I
The
don't know
cat
the answer.
lived. The cat wasn't even... It's that the TSA person saw the hair and didn't even hear the meows or the cat was like crying. Like, this cat is a little bit of a gangster, if I could say that. The cat did not screech or meow or anything. If it wasn't for the hairs, this cat would have got to the next city. probably with super medallion miles.
Also, the airline, I'm going to share the screen again. They really had a lot of fun with tweeting about it. I don't know if this is enough for you to see, but if you look right here, they said, we're letting the cat out of the bag on a historic find. This cat had our baggage screening officers at JFK Airport saying, come on, meow. Feline, like you have travel questions, reach out to our friends at Ask TSA.
You see, I'm calling bullshit again. This is fucking TSA propaganda to make it seem like they're good at their jobs and that they're actually there for any other reason other than their own profits. It's a fucking fluff piece, and the New York Post should be ashamed of themselves for posting it.
A fluff piece because of the hair?
Yes, and because of the cat, Fluffy.
Shannon, whoever wrote that paragraph is a failed comic.
It's so bad.
That's a failed comic. That's a failed comic right there. Who wrote that piece? I think it's unbelievable. I think it's amazing. I think that cat probably, I don't know. I just think that it's amazing that cat didn't hiss or do anything. What a relaxed cat. Most cats are very nervous.
I'd like to know who let the cat out of the bag.
That was in the New York Post article.
Yeah,
they did use that.
Yeah. Robbie, did you write that?
Well, I am a failed comic, so.
You're not a failed comic.
Thanks,
Robbie, you're on this show.
Hell yeah. Investigating.
And was there any penalty for anything, Shannon?
There wasn't. They just made it like, oh, gee, what a weird, fun accident.
Right. To Robbie's point, did the TSA worker who found the cat get promoted?
There is no mention of that in the article.
I mean, you do your job to the best of your ability, and it's like you don't even get recognized for it. That cat could have died, and somebody saved the cat, which I think is a script writing book.
It's a good one.
Wow. I think we all learned something from that. Shannon, what's the next story?
The next story is there is a groom on TikTok, and it says groom exposes bride's, quote, shocking secret during wedding toast. The TikTok video itself, I don't know if you want to watch it. It's pretty long. I don't know how long they're allowed to be these days, but it feels like it's longer than a minute and a half. But do you want to watch it, or do you want me just to tell you what happened?
Just tell me what happened.
Okay, so the groom is giving his speech at his wedding, and he's talking about how he and his wife met. And he said that he met her at a bar. He went up to her. They were talking. And then before he was about to go to the bar to get a drink, she was like, oh, maybe take my number down. But he didn't, because he was nervous and like wasn't used to dating. So he walked away. He went to the bar to get some drinks. And when he walked back to the dance floor where she was making out with another guy.
What?
This chick's awesome. So this sounds like this is a wedding speech about how awesome this lady is. It's a nerdy fucking dude. And she's like, hey, I want to have sex with you. Take my number. He's not cool enough to do it. And she goes, all right, that guy's not interested. I'm getting laid tonight. This lady doesn't operate like Shannon. She's getting out into the world. She's going to take down some dick that night. Gave the guy an opportunity for the number. He said no. And you know what she did with that rejection? She turned it into a makeout session on the dance floor and then still somehow ended up connecting with this guy. This is a beautiful story.
Robbie, it makes me furious that you feel that way. I mean, it really makes me furious. He went to go get her a drink. There's plenty of time to get the number. He went to go get her a drink, and now she's making out on the dance floor with another guy?
He was too big of a pussy to close it when she offered it to him. She offered him the sale. She said, hey, take my money. And he got all fucking finicky. Hey, get your drink first.
Hey, Rushy. Let's have a drink first. What's the hurry? We're into each other. Now let's have a drink and let it marinate. Robbie, what are you on, man?
No, if a lady...
You gotta push everything.
If you walk up to a chick and she goes, hey, you want my number? You take that number and that's it. You leave. You don't have to have any drinks anymore. You already moved the sale forward. You're done. You go, great. Thanks for the number. And then you leave.
Okay, Robbie, everything is not cold calling, okay? Sometimes it's not about just getting the digits and conquering and moving on. Sometimes it's about having a drink and getting to know the person with eye contact.
Well, apparently this worked out because it got the guy to man up And Shannon, where does this go? So she's making out on the dance floor. Does he then
Robbie,
step
can
up?
I host the show?
Sorry.
Shannon, where does this go?
So let's see. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not sure exactly where this turns around. Hold on one
I mean,
second.
were you as turned off as I was about what Robbie said? Is that what you're flustered, Shannon?
Yes, I am. I'm sorry. It threw the whole thing out of my mind. So,
God.
okay. So for after that, I apologize for my lack of chat. And although she'll deny it to this day, she said to, so she said to him, why don't you take my number? I'm a bit thirsty. If you ask me, I'm out of practice, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So he comes back.
So he's being a pussy. You're validating what I was saying.
But he's being honest.
Yeah. And do you
Which
think
is gross. Don't be honest with women. That doesn't work.
Women aren't people, Robbie, and do they belong in space? Well, I got you.
Because being honest is being needy. You got to own your own bullshit. You don't put it on the other person. I hate it. If you're honest with me up front in a relationship, we're done. Because you're being needy. You're telling me all your bullshit. I don't want to hear your bullshit. Keep your bullshit to yourself.
Should women be allowed to go to space?
Probably not. I mean, they're going to get lost up there.
I figured you'd say that. I figured that's where you were going with it.
You want to have to go up to space and save a bunch of chicks that get lost looking for directions?
God, navigation. Women can navigate space, and women can be in space.
I guess monkeys have been up there, so who am I to tell women that they can't go?
Hardy.
I did scroll back through the article, and yeah, they don't say exactly how they reconnected that night, but he says in true him fashion that he once he saw she was making out with someone on the dance floor, he downs both drinks and then he himself returned to the dance floor, and that's where he ends the story. And then he says that, to be honest, let me quote this.
The moral is drink more?
No, he says to be honest, that he's still nervous about leaving her unattended at a bar. Ha ha ha. But she's mortified as he's
by the
telling
way,
the story.
here's what's nice about this story. This guy's getting up in front of all the friends and family after getting married and saying, listen, I fucking suck as a human being, but this lady was still able to fall in love with me. And so if I'm able to find love as this big old pussy, then all of you should be able to find something too. This is a very sweet story, Mike.
Robbie, your toxic masculinity is really encouraging a lot of our low-functioning fans to go out and find someone. So I think your intention is to drive them away, but you're really saying man up.
Yes.
God, I don't know. I just think it's more her fault for going on, for abandoning the situation. Should he have taken more control of the situation? Yeah, he should have. I agree with you there. He should have taken more control of the situation. But he said, I'm thirsty, and apparently in more ways than one, because she went out and quenched her thirst by going out and hooking up with another guy. And then he went on the dance floor, and then things get very murky from there. But he managed to get her back somehow after she's making out with another guy.
This story is actually even sicker than we realize. Here's an investigation for you. This guy's telling you the cycle that he likes to live in. Shannon likes living in a sexless cycle where some guy's coming off of testosterone and she reconnects. That's her cycle. This guy's cycle is that he likes being a pussy, dropping the ball and then winning her back over, and then living in shameful fear that he's going to be recognized for being a pussy. He's literally telling everyone what his thing is, and it's a weird thing.
I think you make a lot of assumptions there, Rob. He didn't do the right thing by taking ownership over that, but I just feel like it's her fault for not being more patient with him. It's his fault for not owning the moment. You're right about that, but it's her fault for abandoning him and then hooking up on the dance floor. Who was that guy on the dance floor, Robbie? Could that have been you?
No, I wasn't dancing.
You wouldn't be there.
No, I don't dance.
You could be the other guy. You have that other guy energy.
No, not me. I'd be
in Scotland.
No.
Shannon, if you were at a bar and you're making conversation with someone and you said, hey, I'm interested, take my number. So you had to take the initiative and they fumbled that. You wouldn't lose attraction in that person?
See, but I like his honesty where he's like, I feel like you would see his
Shannon,
nervousness in that moment.
Guy's not a roided up giant firefighter.
I mean, but we have to go one way or the other. I'm either attracted to him or I'm not attracted to him. Assuming
Okay.
that if I'm giving him my number, I am attracted to him.
Right.
If then I see a little bit of nervousness in him where he's like, oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm out of practice. Let me get us drinks. He's still making an effort here. He's going to the
Right.
bar. He's getting us drinks. That the night isn't over. He's not like, oh, I don't know what to do and just leaves. Like we're still in the process.
Yes, that's what I was saying, Robbie. They're still in the process. But you expect the guy to be Andrew Tate or wherever that guy is on the internet who's just like, go for it. I don't know what you're doing. It's like, I get it. You do need to take control of the situation. And I'm not a big fan of like fumbling and out of practice. It's like, get your self-respect up, get your guts up. But you don't have to rush at everything. And if you're going to the bar, you're taking ownership by going and getting drinks. And if you bring the drinks back and she's on the dance floor making out with another guy, I don't know how you're married. I'd like to hear it seems like they left out the most important part of the story. Shannon, did they?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it looked like Robbie was cooking something up in his mind.
Oh, I don't know.
No,
Maybe Robbie,
I'm curious.
maybe
to
Robbie
know,
was ready to make his own toast. He was ready to make another toast.
I'm curious to know how he ended up winning that back, or why he actually. I mean, so he was such a pussy that he didn't take the number, but then he manned up, even though she left him to go make out with someone. It's a weird character.
Yeah, I don't see an article. If you want, I can play the TikTok for you guys, and if it's too long or stupid, I can cut it shorter in the final edit.
I'm curious to know what this guy looks like. Mike, if you just had
Okay.
to guess based off the story.
Yeah,
think
let's go. Let's
Okay.
do
He's
it.
handsome. What do you think this guy looks like? Tall and skinny?
He's in Scotland, so he's definitely wearing a skirt.
Okay, here's the TikTok.
Now that I've said my thank yous,
Wait,
You can.
this guy has my fucking face.
You heard sounds when I hit play, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
to my beautiful wife, I do feel that Katie and I actually need to be a little bit more honest with you both. Today, during the ceremony, David the celebrant mentioned that we met for the first time at the cricket club, got chatting and shared a kiss later that night. Whilst that is true, we left out a few bits along the way. And I feel that I really need to fill in the blanks for you right now. So, yes, Katie and I did meet at the cricket club and we did have a chat. Katie doing most of the speaking. So the night went on, Katie talking at me nodding, laughing along with her jokes. And then we went on to Oran Moor and Katie and I went outside for a little chat. And that's where we shared our first kiss. No, wait. Now, after that, I apologised to Katie for my lack of chat, and although she'll deny it to this day, she said to me, "Why don't you take my number and we can meet up another time?" a bit thirsty, if you ask me. But I was so out of practice that I didn't even take her number, and instead went outside to get us a couple of drinks, being a gentleman that I am. Went to the bar, bought the drinks, went back outside to give her the drinks, only to find her snogging another guy. Having spent some more time with Jen, and Katie together, I've realised this is a fairly common occurrence for Katie in Oran Moor.
They drink a lot.
So, in true.
Say that again, Robbie.
I said I think they drink a lot over there, so this is normal. Like, it doesn't seem normal to us, but for them, like, you know.
I really want to go to a Scottish wedding now.
I feel
It's
like that's
unbelievable. And I think the word snogging has a different meaning in our culture. Snogging means sex in our culture. Over there, it means kissing.
yeah,
Snogging.
making out. Mhm.
Oh, I thought that's when, like, you spit a loogie.
No. So I feel like I'm sorry, hearing the whole story now, I missed that the first time around that they had kissed already. So she's like just making out with everybody at
Yeah.
this bar.
Yeah.
Also not cool, I feel like, to make this your speech at the wedding.
I
Yeah,
know,
but it's killing.
it is killing with the Scottish. But what is this, Skankfest? It feels like an inappropriate speech to be made by the groom. but it's pretty nuts.
They got a weird thing going.
They do have it's kind of a weird cultural. They met at the cricket club, which was immediately off-putting to me. The cricket club, which is their baseball, I think. Okay. Well, do you think they last?
I don't think they want to last.
I think they actually do last. I think they got it out of the way early. Sometimes that happens. You get it out of the way early, and then you have a happy life.
I think this is headed for cucked pegging, but that was just my opinion.
Okay, well, at the cricket club, do you think that's part of the cricket club?
It makes sense to me. I mean, you already got the utensils for it.
Well, Robbie, you get really upset there for a second because once a man doesn't show his masculinity, I thought you were going to take your shirt off and start doing push-ups.
I apologize. I got a little bit too worked up. I don't know why I was so attached to this.
And I'm with you on it. I don't like that either. I don't like a guy who I don't like that bashful whatever. If that's actually who you are, okay, there are some occasions where it's fine, but I don't like the fact that I like a guy who takes control of the situation too, but I wasn't about to do a cycle of steroids over it.
You're right. That was too much for me. I apologize. I got a little too heated into the investigation.
Robbie, sometimes these investigations, just from experience, an old veteran, they encapsulate you and you get emotionally attached to it. And then when it's time to punch a clock and go home, you're taking it with you. And I feel like you're going to take this one with you. Because you were furious the fact that this guy because you have that sales quality to you, and the fact that this guy did not close goes against every fiber of your being. You were raised a winner, you are a winner, and you don't like anything else. It's like asking Tom Brady to throw a game.
I'm just a rookie investigator.
No, you're not.
I got to work on it.
You got really invested in that, Robbie, and and thank God you meditated before the podcast.
That's true. If I come into this hot,
he's gonna have to meditate again after. I think
he's probably gonna have to come down somehow. Shannon, do you have one more for us?
I do. This next one: spicy food eaters more likely to consider themselves attractive, according to a poll. It says that if you tend to reach for spicier foods, chances are you lead a spicier life. Spicy food eaters are more likely to try new things, 76%, consider themselves attractive, 62%, and are more content with their lives, 66%, more than those with milder heat preferences.
So spicy food equals a spicier life, Shannon.
Yes.
If that was the headline, if I could put that into a headline.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that to be true, Shannon? Italians and Mexicans and Indian people are the most adventurous then? Because Indian food is the hottest of all foods.
I don't know enough to categorize it by culture, but I'm thinking about like myself and my sister. I love spice. My sister hates it. If I put garlic powder on something, she's like, this is too spicy. And I feel like she is more of like an adventurous person than I am. She had her pilot's license, motorcycle license. She's a daredevil, and I am the opposite of all those things.
Wait, so I thought it was the spicy people who like spicy foods take more risks.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah. So I don't.
So it's the opposite.
For me, it is. Like, I'm not falling into this category.
Right.
Do you like spicy food, Mike?
I like spicy food, and you're not going to find me cave jumping or whatever. I'm not doing any of that stuff because it's just risk reward. The risk is, the reward is if I jump off a cliff, I land in the water, I'll get to say that I did that. The downside is I could be paralyzed for life.
Or almost drown like I did in Jamaica.
Yeah, almost drowned, and nobody from the Gas Digital Network saving you, Shannon.
That's right. Yep.
And Shannon, you hold that grudge to this day.
I sure do.
Robbie, do you like spicy food?
I do like spicy food. But the correlation kind of makes sense, to me, that if you're a spicy food eater, you kind of like pushing it. And that you might also see yourself as, hey, I'm someone that pushes it, so I'm more interesting. But I would also, how are they conducting this study? It sounds like a dumb survey.
It does kind of sound dumb, Shannon. It's a poll. And I think people are just doing polls to do them.
Sorry, it was a poll conducted on behalf of Frank's Red Hot.
Yeah,
Oh, of
Frank's Red Hot's
course.
not even. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I
Frank's
knew
Red
it
Hot
was-
comes back. Hey, you're more interesting if you consume our
I
product.
knew it, Shannon. I smelled something terrible, and it's this big hot sauce is behind this whole thing.
If I may say, I love Frank's Red Hot sauce, and I go through like a bottle a week of it. Not that they're sponsoring us, but I love it.
Do you do shots of it, Shannon?
I would.
I'm a Tabasco man myself.
I love it. I like Tabasco's cool.
I do like hot sauce myself. So Frank's, you got us on that one. We thought that was an actual news story. Meanwhile, it was an advertisement for Frank's, and they got us talking about it. The fastest rising podcast on the Gas Digital Network, an investigative show, fell into Frank's trap.
We busted it pretty quick though.
I think we did. After further investigation, we figured it out. You know, Shannon, let's do one more. We can't end on that one. A trick.
Okay. So 500 new words have been allowed into Scrabble. Some of the words are Jedi, spork, hangry, subtweet, adulting, adulted, adding or added, as in
So it's Scrabble Stupid Millennial Edition.
yes.
Oh, it's
basically
Gen. Is it millennial or Gen Z, Shannon?
Yes, you're right. It is Gen Z, I think.
Gen Z. I'm sorry. The millennials would have been offended by the entire Gen Z.
I only played Scrabble once in my life. Can I tell a story real quick? It's a good story.
Sure.
I think you'll like it.
Yeah, no, I think our fans deserve it.
So I was at this I grew up very religious Jewish, and I was at this summer camp in high school that was like, study Talmud with other men. It was very, very Jewy program.
Right.
And we were located next to like the counselors, and we're in our room, and we walked in on the first day, and our bunk sucked, and we were just kind of cursing, just being like, fuck this place, why the fuck do we come here? And then the guy came in next door, the rabbi guy, and he's yelling at us, telling us we can't use the filthy language. And then we realized that you could hear like one vent to the other vent. So we went next to the vent, and we pretended like we were playing Scrabble, and we're just spelling out like curse words and saying them into the vent to piss the guy off.
Wow, Robbie, that is really the most egregious use of Scrabble. I never knew somebody who used Scrabble as a form of revenge. And I'm glad we had this story to bring that out of you.
Yeah. To this day, I still think that is clever.
Any regrets?
No, I think that was probably the best usage of Scrabble in the history of Scrabble.
Well, regret is a word that if you wish you didn't do something, for those of you who don't know what regrets mean. Wow. Shannon, what's your take on it?
I think it's silly. I think it's what Robbie said. It's just stupid millennial or Gen Z version of it. It's just like how they add to the dictionary words that people have just messed up so many times. And they're like, all right, I guess we'll just make that a word, like conversate, for example. Right. It's so stupid. I do like that they added faux hawk because I do enjoy faux hawk. That is one of the words they added.
Faux hawk.
I do,
anything that speaks to like unadulterated, bland masculinity, Shannon, you love it.
Yeah.
That's a faux hawk. Well, we're gonna be adulting our way out of this. And we had a great episode. Robbie, thank you for coming in and investigating. And I hope that you're able to calm down and have a good sleep tonight, because you were ramped up and I enjoyed it. I think our fans, especially the ones who take the bus, they enjoyed it. And I think Shannon's new excursion and love life, and possibly podcast ending confrontation tonight, is going to change the landscape, maybe, of this podcast. So, Robbie, thank you for joining us. Shannon, you're very powerful and beautiful as always.
Thank you.
And I'm Mike Vecchione, and this has been Mike Vecchione Investigates. And we love you guys, and we will see you next week.